Before that surge of anxiety hits, before anger takes over, before shame settles in like a heavy coat, something has already happened inside your nervous system. In a fraction of a second, faster than you can even register it consciously, your brain has already decided what this event or situation actually means for you. And once that meaning is locked in, the emotional response cascades almost automatically, like dominoes. Two people go through the exact same thing. The same curt email from a boss. The same tough conversation with a partner. The same professional setback. One person spirals into anger or dread, while the other stays relatively calm, or even feels a strange kind of motivation. Why does that happen? It's not random. It's not because one person is just stronger or has it more together. Today, we are going to explore why we feel the way we feel, and more importantly, how we can actually gain greater control over our emotional lives. Welcome to MindLit Labs. I'm David Cook. What's really going on with the example we just mentioned is that emotions are not direct automatic reactions to the events themselves. Rather, they are reactions to the interpretation our brain makes about those events. In other words, it's not the event itself that creates the emotion, it is the story your brain tells about the event. It turns out this framework was first clearly laid out by Richard Lazarus back in 1966 in what he called Cognitive Appraisal Theory. It is essentially the operating system your brain uses to generate every emotion you feel. The key thing to understand is this: the critical variable is never what happens to you. It's the meaning that you, or more accurately, the automatic circuitry in your brain, attaches to what happens. Okay, let's go back to the boss's email mentioned earlier. Person A gets a short, direct email from their supervisor, and their system reads it as, okay, I might need to clarify a couple things. Their system stays regulated and clear. Person B, on the other hand, gets the exact same email, and their nervous system instantly appraises it as threat, job in jeopardy, future at risk. Their heart rate spikes, cortisol floods, dread rolls in. Danger, Will Robinson! Code red! Same stimulus, completely different internal worlds. So the central question Cognitive Appraisal Theory answers is brutal in its simplicity. If the external event is identical, why are the emotional outcomes so different? And the answer is because emotion follows meaning, not event. The meaning. Once you begin to see all this, you start realizing that the nervous system is writing the operating system, and that our old beliefs and experiences are mostly just outdated software layered on top. But more importantly, you also start to understand how much influence you actually have over your emotional life. You have more control over your inner world than most people ever realize. Let's break down how this works. Every single emotion you experience begins with your brain running lightning-fast appraisals before conscious thought even boots up. It starts with what Lazarus labeled primary appraisal. In milliseconds after the event hits, it asks these questions. What does this mean for me? Is it a threat, challenge, loss, gain, or is it harmless? If it tags it as a threat, you feel fear or anger. If it tags it as a challenge, you feel energized, maybe even excited. If it tags it as an irreversible loss, sadness or grief rolls in. Then the secondary appraisal kicks in, and it asks, do I have the resources to handle this? Can I cope with it? Can I influence the outcome? If yes, then emotion stays contained. If no, then intensity is going to ramp up hard. Panic, rage, shutdown, whatever your default safety program is. From there, coping follows. Now, we usually cope in one of two ways. Problem-focused coping, which is when you move to change the situation, and emotion-focused coping, which is when you work to change how you feel about it. Now, keep in mind, this entire process is filtered through your personal history, your beliefs, past experiences, wounds, fears, and sense of identity. Nothing is random. Your emotional system has a coherent, if not outdated, logic behind it. Now here's where it gets potent, and where you actually get leverage. If emotion follows meaning, then sometimes you don't need a new situation, you need a better appraisal. That second look is called Cognitive Reappraisal, and it turns out to be one of the most robust, evidence-backed tools for emotional regulation we have. Reappraisal is not positive thinking. It is not denial. It is accuracy. You don't change the event. You interrogate the first automatic meaning and ask more precise questions. Is this definitely a threat? Or could it be a challenge? Do I actually have zero options? Or am I just feeling powerless in this moment? Is this personal rejection or incomplete information? Is this permanent loss or painful but temporary transition? Let's go back once again to the boss's email. The first appraisal says, I'm screwed. So dread makes perfect sense. Your system believes your future is at stake. However, reappraisal asks, wait, do I actually know that's true? What if the meaning is simply the boss wants clarity? Same email, different appraised meaning, different emotion, different coping. Again, reappraisal isn't denial. It's asking more accurate questions. It redirects the system instead of fighting it. When you catch a strong emotional wave rising, pause. Literally 3 to 5 seconds is enough, and run the type of questions we've just discussed. Do it consistently, and you will start seeing the emotional output shift in real time. We have a wealth of data showing that regular reappraisal practice measurably lowers anxiety, improves regulation, and builds resilience across domains. From a theological angle, this maps directly into the biblical call to renew the mind. Romans 12 says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Ephesians 4 declares, be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Scripture is telling us how we think. That inner dialogue that takes place within us shapes our identity and emotional path, as well as our beliefs and behaviors. Appraisal is that inner dialogue, often quiet, but always powerful. And science confirms this. Inner dialogue, the appraisal, shapes identity, emotion, behavior, everything. Renewing the mind, then, is both a psychological protocol and a spiritual discipline. So let's recap. Emotions follow meaning, not events. Primary appraisal tags relevance and importance in milliseconds. Secondary appraisal evaluates resources and control. Coping follows with either problem-focused or emotion-focused coping. Reappraisal gives you a potent second pass that literally rewrites the emotional output. So here's something I want you to do right now. Think of one recent emotional reaction. What meaning did your system assign in that moment? And what new, more accurate meaning could you have assigned that would have strengthened you instead of draining you? Write it down, meditate on it, and then store it in your memory, because awareness is the beginning of transformation. If this video's helped you understand your emotions in a new way, share it with someone who may be stuck in a similar loop and needs that clarity. Because when you change what something means, you change how it feels, and ultimately, you change how you operate in the world. In part 2, we'll go deeper into where these automatic meanings come from and how they get wired into the brain, and specific protocols you can use to start taking control of them. Thank you for watching, and remember, stay aware, stay curious, stay compassionate, and keep your mind lit. Take care. God bless.
Thanks for joining us today. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and follow MindLit Labs, where we explore the convergence of mind, meaning, and faith. Our goal is to help you to think deeper, live wiser, and stay grounded in what's true, good, and beautiful.